I do want to talk about something that's a little weird. So we're talking about for a second. Thrasher, when you're, injured, unfortunately, Beaver Cleavage appears into the organization. And maybe you liked it, maybe you didn't. How did you feel about this? Because it's not like the Headbangers broke up really. Like, they didn't have a big, giant breakup in a singles match and a storyline. It just turned out, you're injured, and that kind of happens. And then, out of nowhere, Mosh becomes Beaver Cleavage. Whoa. What were both of your mindsets heading into this, going like, wait a minute, I thought we were doing great, and now this is happening to us?
Well, mine was I kind of understood it. I tore my ACL, my meniscus. So I went through and back in I think it was 99, that surgery was really, in depth. And so it's not like it is today. So it put me on the shelf for a good 9 months to almost a year. So, I mean, it was to the fact that, when they approached Chaz with that, we talked about it, and, it was just like, he still has to, go out and do what he does and stuff like that. So there was nothing, I didn't think anything like that was, bad for us. It wasn't talked about like it was a breakup. It was, hey, he's going to do this, while you're out recovering kind of thing. And then towards the end of it, we kind of, got different information. I was going to come back as Doink the Evil Clown.
Really?
Bruce Pritchard was going to be my manager. So I don't know if you guys remember back then, Bruce used to go out to the ring and pick up like different objects, during the hardcore matches, and he used to run backstage. So that was going to be my weapons when I came back as the Evil Clown Doink. And then Chaz was going to continue to do the Beaver Cleavage thing. So as it appeared, or as it got closer to actually doing it and stuff like that, the Beaver Cleavage thing, I guess, fell off and lost steam, or got the hate mail.
Yeah. So for me at first, I was kind of hesitant. I never really did singles. When Glenn trained me, I started in June of '93. November of '93, we had our first tag match. I had a couple of singles matches, but it was mostly, from that point forward, I was mainly a tag team. So I was a little hesitant, but at the same time, a little excited at the opportunity to, do my own thing and figure something out. And the Beaver Cleavage thing was, it was fun. It was funny. Those vignettes were hysterical. It was so much fun doing the vignettes. And then, my head's buried in boobs every night outside the ring during vignettes. So, who's complaining? The only complaint I had, and hindsight being 2020, looking back at it now, I didn't like the girl who was my mother. We just didn't click. Personalities, we didn't get along. And at that point, I was like, I kind of was getting like, okay, this is going to suck. But because she just wasn't, I don't know, we just weren't a good fit. But I didn't look at it from the business side of it going, well, I don't have to like her. We just have to get along on TV. Like, I have to like her for 10 minutes. That's it. I can look at it that way. And then I didn't even look at it back then where, they were bringing all these females in, and whoever had a female valet kind of was getting pushed to the top. That's when Jeff had Deborah, and Lita was coming in. Like, all these women were coming in, and the guys were getting pushed. So they did the Beaver. We did the vignettes. I did the one match against Christian. Again, I have another undefeated gimmick. Beaver Cleavage has never lost.
Dude.
I'm 2 for 2 with those. But then that's when, Sable was doing her sexual harassment suits and all this other stuff was going on. So anything that was sexually edgy, and let's be honest, they were insinuating I was having sex with my mother. That's where the gimmick was going. Yeah. That's when they killed it off. And they were like, you're just going to be Chaz, this kid from New Jersey who's just happy to be here, and you come out with your girlfriend. And at that point I went, well, who's Chaz? I know who Mosh is. I knew who Beaver Cleavage was, but who the fuck was Mosh? Or who was Chaz? I had no idea how to be, how to act, and kind of what to do, because that was never it. I was a spider. Then I did 3 matches as Chaz in the ring in New Jersey before Glenn and I started tagging. So I really didn't know what to do with it. And then they started coming up with the stupid ideas of, I'm beating up my girlfriend, and this is going on, that's going on. Then it was all leading back for Glenn. But again, looking back, I should have just embraced her, took it, and then when Glenn came back, boom, now we have a girl with us who's in good shape, who we could have trained to get in the ring. We could have been out there with the Hardys and Lita, and we would have had that female presence with us. But it's not how it happened, so it is what it is.
So I never knew why Beaver Cleavage ended, because to me, it was like, oh, okay, this is a fun little gimmick, and I like it's the Attitude Era, so we're trying very, very edgy things. So you're saying the reason it ended is because Sable's lawsuit against the WWE?
That was a part of it, yeah. So anything that had that sexual innuendo going on, they had to kind of kill off, because, there was sexual harassment charges and rumors and stupid shit like that going around.
Wow. See, I'm really, again, this is like you're clearing out all these rumors, because for years people just thought, oh, it wasn't doing well, so they ended Beaver Cleavage.
And people say to me all the time, like, was that a shoot on TV when you just walked off? I'm like, who walks off live TV like that? I wasn't in the biz. I wasn't Stone Cold. I wasn't CM Punk. Like, I couldn't just walk off and leave. No. Again, the gimmick was fun. I mean, it would have been, I think it could have gotten over, and then from there could have evolved it into something else. Or like I said, if it was to bring Glenn back in, then we could have evolved it that way also. I never really looked at wrestling when we were there. Our idea was, okay, we're here. We're doing what we're supposed to be doing. We stay out of trouble. We do what we're asked. All right, I'm here for life. Never realizing the business side of it, when they want you to be not controversial, but they want you to question and push and do different things like that. Like, I just wish I'd looked at the business side of what was going on, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Totally different thing.
Well, I definitely enjoy Beaver Cleavage, so, he said, boobs in your face. Who's complaining? Who's complaining? And then that's weird storyline where, Chaz, and you would wear like boxers to the ring.
Well, they said, like, what are you going to wear? Because when the next TV, I was like, I didn't have gear. I had Headbanger stuff. I had Beaver Cleavage stuff. I didn't have gear. I had my high-tech boots. I had,
Good old Zoom.
That's what you're wearing. I'm like, that's all I got. I don't know where this is. You guys can't tell me where it's going, what I'm doing. You told me I'm Chaz. I'm this just happy to be here from New Jersey, so I have happy face, smiley boxer shorts, and that's what I rolled with it. If I would have known where it was, if it was going to last longer, I would have gotten gear made. But I think I would have gotten gear made with smiley faces on it, because that's kind of what I was wearing, and I wore it under the skirt. I had smiley face T-shirts we wore out as Headbangers, so I was like, that's kind of where I was going with it.
I enjoyed it all. I just didn't. Even as a child, I thought, I was like, oh, he's beating his girlfriend storyline. I was like, even as a 13-year-old boy, I thought, I'm okay with him having sex with his mother, but I am not okay with him beating his girlfriend.
That's just weird, man.
Yeah, there's a huge box over there, Oh my! But yes, you eventually reunited, and so was that. Eventually, you're back from your injury. You get back together. You get back in the saddle. So how does that feel? Because again, 9 months out injured, there's got to be something in the back of your brain going, "Am I going to be as good as I once was?" Because now maybe you're thinking, "Am I going to be hurt going in the ring?"
So yeah, I mean, that knee injury, it was the first time I've actually ever, had a serious injury. I've broken my nose several times, my collarbones, my elbows, things like that. But anything like the surgery, it was in my head so bad and so much, and it just never got out. It took years, even after I left WWE and stuff like that. It took years for it to actually leave I want to say good 5 to 10 years.
Wow.
Before I could actually think about running normal or, not being afraid of doing something because this was going to happen and stuff like that. So, I mean, when we got back together, it was like, we never missed a beat. It was the same old. But when you come back from the ring and you have, the agents come up to you and go, hey, you're running different. You're taking little small steps and stuff like that. What are you doing? Stuff like that. It also adds to your psyche and stuff like that. And, it really, it hurt me more than just physically. It hurt me more mentally. it was funny because when I went back and I saw my surgeon and stuff like that, and I was telling him about, you know, things that were going on and how I felt and stuff like that. Should I wear the big giant Steve Austin knee braces, and so will that help? Or I was looking for any kind of answer. And he goes, those knee braces, that's just for your head. So if you feel it's going to help you mentally, wear it. He goes, but your knee is surgically 100% fine. So it was more of a head thing and stuff like that, and it was bad. It was funny because years later, I moved down to Florida because that's where Chaz was living at the time and stuff like that. And we got back in the ring, I want to say in 2010, and I was 325 pounds. I got out of wrestling and I lost all desire for anything. He was living down here. I was still living up in New Jersey and Maryland, and it was not a good time for me. I was still, trying to search, like we were talking about before, find my way kind of, I guess, after wrestling and stuff like that. So then, I moved down to Florida, and he was like, let's get back in the ring. And I was just, I got all this going on. He was like, just go to the gym. Just try it. So I went from one realm all the way to another where, I was down to 215 pounds. I lost over 100 pounds. I looked like I was sick. I little tiny body, and I had this big giant head. And somebody actually came up to me at a show. I'll never forget it, and asked me if I was okay. And I went, what do you mean? He was like, you don't look normal. You look sick. And then I took a picture with that person, and then I looked at that picture. I saw it later online, and I did. I looked like I was a cancer patient. So, I still have the battle, I guess, with eating and working out and stuff like that. But it's something that, I think stemmed from my knee surgery and stuff. It was bad. But years later, I had a second knee surgery on the other day, and we were back in the ring in 4 or 5 months. And it was like night and day between the two surgeries. Years apart, of course.
Yeah.
Technology got a lot better. So yeah, it was a battle. It's always a battle, that I go through with the weight and stuff like that. It's hard.
The technology for surgery got better, but he also went to a better surgeon because he went to my surgeon. So
Yeah, doctor. Yeah.
Well, shout out to your doctor then, because
Dr. Gelb.
But you brought up a really good point though. Like, people always say, "Oh, I was injured, I got back in the ring," but no one ever sees the scars that I can see your scar on your arm or your knee or your back, but I can't see the scars inside you. I cannot tell how you're feeling mentally about something that should be, "Oh, I got a surgery, my knee's better," but in reality, that affects your brain.
Well, it's weird too because you always want to go back in, and you always want to pick up where you left off and stuff like that. You never want to say you digressed or went backwards or anything else like that. And then, you have people saying, hey, looks like you lost a step, and stuff. So it really messes with you mentally. And I think more than physically, it's really, really, it was trying on my psyche and stuff like that.